The Milwaukee Regional Championships just went down this last weekend. I'm Maddie and I'm here to take you through what went down. I think this was one of the coolest regionals so far in this season, and it was the first Reg I regional as well, so it was really exciting. I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe and like the video if you're interested in VGC. You can feel free to unsubscribe later, but I plan to do a few videos like this, recapping tournaments if you've missed them. So let's look at the usage stats to begin with. What's really interesting is the conversion rate between Calyrex, Shadow, Zamazenta between day 1 and day 2, because this was really thought to be the most dominant combo in the meta, with Koraidon Lunala as a close second. And what is interesting is that Koraidon Lunala has outperformed, as it has more usage day 2 than day 1, and Calyrex, Shadow, Zamazenta has fallen off. And what is also really interesting is Calyrex, Ice, and Miraidon. I wasn't expecting this to be this high up in usage. It's a kind of weird pairing because Calyrex is super slow and Miraidon's super fast, but Ice and Electric just have really good coverage together, so it makes sense to see it here. Yeah, anyway, let's look at some of the top cut teams. Here we go. Yeah. So like these Calyrex, Shadow, Terapagos teams are really interesting. They kind of are similar to the old solo Terapagos teams from Reg G, where the main goal is just to set up the Terapagos, protect it, and sweep with its unresistible coverage. But in Reg I, it has run into some problems with Zamazenta, which has higher usage than ever, since typically in Reg G it didn't have the power to carry its whole team super efficiently, so it kind of fell off. But now, as just a support restricted, it's really the best it's ever been. So in return, this has hindered Terapagos massively. But we see here it's supported by Calyrex Shadow, which can help deal with that, as well as act as a supplementary sweeper option. You've got the usual partners like Instant, Amoonguss, Fluttermane. These really just help to sweep with Terapagos in 3 different ways. Just damage control, redirection, and speed control. It actually has fake tiers as well to let it do even more damage. And Urshifu, complementary, just to pick stuff off as well. Good team. The next we've got the Waze team, and this is one of the coolest teams out of this tournament. So Ho is a Pokemon that I've never really expected to be good, but this format it has proven to be good, and here's why. It's really just very good into the meta right now. Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Zamazenta, neither of them love fighting this, especially Zamazenta has big problems. So yeah, what's really cool about this team is the Miraidon is actually Calm Mind with a bunch of healing support and screens. Yeah, this is a really cool take on the team. It's great to see the way have some success with this. Good creativity here. And next we've got two pretty similar Miraidon Cali Ice teams. So we see this one has a Morning Sun Volcarona actually, which is really cool. The thing about Volcarona is it kind of has a similar role to Ho-Oh right now, where it is pretty good into Calyrex, Shadow, Zamazenta. It's not as good in the Calyrex as Ho-Oh is, but it's still very good in the Zamazenta. You can get your Trick Rooms up. Both Miraidon and Calyrex really appreciate Rage Powder support to get the heavy damage off. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of Arubega team from Reg G, which was the main Miraidon build, with a different Trick Room mode. Looks very cool. And yeah, this is something similar, but it's quite different at the same time. You've got no Farigiraf, which was a key part of the old team. But instead you see screens. A lot of Screams Miraidon have done well this weekend. Grimmsnarl as a Pokemon is hitting like unprecedented numbers for this gen in this format. And I think just getting screens for both your restricted is so broken. Yeah, any Pokemon that like supports almost exclusively nearly gets better the more restricteds are in the game. Yeah, you've got Urshifu to clean up with Miraidon. This super offensive pin. Calyrex Ice can set Trick Room if you fight a Tailwind team. Yeah, it is very solid. And we've got Wolf next. So Wolf actually has a very basic sort of team, like more basically than you would expect from Wolf. Now a lot of people have been using similar teams to this. I've actually seen Brute Bonnet on this archetype more than Amoonguss. Yeah, this is just solid. So it's sort of like Calyrex Shadow Zamazenta, where you've got the perfect ghost plus fighting coverage. Koraidon Fluttermane is super oppressive. He actually doesn't have Shadow Ball on his Fluttermane, so he can't threaten Calyrex Shadow for an Oko. What Fluttermane can do is it can usually Shadow Ball a Calyrex, and then it wants the Terra, but then it usually is Terra Dark, so Moonblast can also get it. But yeah, that isn't the case on this team. Raging Bolt is a smart adaptation to this archetype, I think, because there were a lot of Tornadus Urshifus on Calyrex Zamazenta teams as a response to Sun, so Bolt really helps with those. And yeah, this is just a smart, good team, safe pick for the tournament. And yeah, got a top cut. Now, this is the crazy team. Michael Zhang has cooked here. I haven't seen half of these Pokemon in a while. So yeah, Toxapex, this is probably Toxapex's ever top cut at a regional. So that's so cool. Wide Guard is better than ever this format because you've got both Calyrexes, Miraidon, Dazzling Gleam, Kyogre, Groudon, a ton of restricted with spread moves. Yeah, this kind of like stall team, right? So you can place Toxics and then heal all your Pokemon with Comfey. You've got double regenerator. You've got Rhydon for Lightning Rod. This helps a lot with Miraidon. Yeah, because these two Pokemon are both weak to Electric. Koraidon AV. Guess that makes a lot of sense when you've got healing with it. It's very hard to take out then, and you probably need a very offensive piece like Koraidon just to do damage, because you can't usually win purely by stalling. It's best to deplete resources and then stall, or vice versa, I would say. Walking Wake. This is just solid. It's good against rain, it's good against sun. Not a bad Pokemon. Bit on the frail side, I will say, but yeah, this obviously proved to be very good for Michael. We've got Lewis's team. Get used to seeing this team. This was very popular last week in Victory Road. This exact team, so yeah. Spoilers, we will see Lunala Ursaluna a lot later on in the video as well. Yeah, so Koraidon Lunala, they use Chiyu Fluttermane really to threaten Calyrex teams. And then yeah, their Tailwind can be cancelled out by Trick Room. Ursaluna is a really good sweeper right now. Very good into the meta. This is just solid stuff. Brute Bonnet's picked up so much since the start of Reg I. Just has great synergy with Koraidon. It's really hard to remove this in one hit, or even two hits, honestly. The defense boost in Sun makes it almost unkillable. And you can't taunt it with Prankster because it's a dark type too. So yeah, a lot of the time you'll see like Koraidon, Brute Bonnet lead. Like this works into a variety of teams. It works in the Trick Room, you can survive Glacial Lances. It works into like Urshifus. It works into Calyrex Shadow and Zamazenta. Because you can actually live a double up after the defense boost, it's crazy. But yeah, where were we? Caitlin Brown. Yeah, Koraidon Kali Ice, this is the first time we see this. And this actually had quite high usage if you look at the stats. Yeah, so this is sort of similar. It's got a Calyrex Ice Trick Room mode. Calyrex Ice is kind of more Trick Room focused than Lunala. Lunala can kind of play both ways, but Calyrex wants to be in the Trick Room more than it. That being said, this could have some speed investment to pick off some middling speed threats with Icy Wind. Yeah. And then we've got Giovanni. Yeah, same team as we saw before. As I said, super popular. But James Evans, now this is a very cool team. This hasn't really been done yet. Koraidon Calyrex Shadow is nothing crazy, but Wheezing with Ability Shield Koraidon is cool. There's so many abilities to turn off in this format, like Miraidon's ability is really good to turn off for Brute Bonnet, so you can Spore. You can stop Zamazenta from getting a boost. You can stop other Koraidons from having a Sun boost. Kyogre, stuff like that. Yeah, and Koraidon is so self-sufficient, it can almost sweep, like, quote-unquote 2v1 if you have Wheezing on the field. And yeah, Raging Bolt, as I said, I think this is a good meta call right now. It's good into Calyrex and Zamazenta, because a lot of Zamazentas just run Heavy Slam, which hits this thing for like no BP when it terrors. So whenever it terrors, you kind of just wall Zamazenta unless it has Behemoth Push. So that's really cool. Alexander Hill. Yeah, this is, I think we saw this 6 before. Yeah, another Morning Sun Volcarona, so this must be very picking up in usage right now. Makes sense just to be a consistent check to Zamazenta. Yeah, and this is just really similar to Aberega team from Reg G. Yeah, cool stuff. Calyrex and Volcarona can actually do a lot of work in Trick Room. They've got good coverage together. Here we are, Colin Higher. Yeah, this is the first leftovers Lunala team, which is interesting. The most common set is Meteor Beam. My issue with that is that if you miss your 90% accurate Meteor Beam, you can't use it for the rest of the game. And you're giving up an item to use that as well, but it is super strong if you hit. But yeah, anyway. Moongeist Beam, Moonblast, Y-Guard, Trick Room. Yeah, a lot of Lunalas are Y-Guard instead of Protect. You won't see both Protect and Y-Guard that often. And then we've got Joe's team. Yeah, this is cool. This is quite different as well. Again, we see Grimmstorm Miraidon. This is going to be a combo that will last, I think. And we've actually got Quiver Dance Volcarona, as opposed to the Rage Powder sets. This is cool. Yeah, Zamazenta. Terra Water is unusual. You would usually see Terra Dragon on this. Yeah, it was successful. And Iron Hand's just such good stats with Miraidon. So even not having Trick Room, it makes sense to still have it. Ditto is interesting. This format, Ditto could be better since there's 2 restricted to copy. But it's also, you're in Reg G, if you copied a restricted, you're going from having 1 restricted to 2. And in this format, you're going from having 2 restricteds to 3, which is like a smaller % increase in restricted, but it's easier to copy one, so I'm really not sure which format it's going to end up better in. I've seen a lot of it this format though. Yeah, Carl's team. This is the same as the thing we've been seeing. Actually has Indeedee though, instead of Ursaluna, which is really interesting. So yeah, this team probably doesn't play in Trick Room that often. You've got Expanding Force on Lunala to abuse the Indeedee instead of having an Ursaluna to sweep. So yeah, this is a cool variation. I could see this being on power with the other one. Let's see, Riley Factura. This is quite similar to his Reg G team. We see Terapagos Miraidon is a combo that hasn't came up yet. And it's actually Expert Bell, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Because Terra Starstorm kind of hits everything for neutral. But then this will push these moves over the edge to do more damage than Terra Starstorm. And I guess you're hitting a lot of Calyrex, a lot of Zamazenta. So yeah, this makes sense. A cool team. Iron Crown. Yeah, this is just pretty good. You got the electric terrain, tachyon cutter, you'll outspeed. I'm assuming it's speed boosting, but you'll outspeed like nearly the whole format. And this is really good coverage with Terra Grand. Yeah, cool team. I like it. Zachary. Yeah, this is Miraidon Kali Ice, but what's really interesting is this is Choice Scarf Miraidon. This is something you never saw in Reg G at all. But it actually makes sense here, I think. Because you can Vault Switch into a Calyrex Shadow. You can Vault Switch against an Urshifu and Tailwind. You're just faster than all these threats. And, yeah, so like, you're checking some more mons than you would before. And you can Vault Switch to safety against them. And sponge it with a hit Pokemon like Farigiraf or Iron Hands. And then you've got the Trick Room mode, Iron Valiant with Coaching and Y-Guard. Good support for Calyrex Ice. Deals with its problems like Calyrex Shadow and Zamazenta. So yeah, that's cool. Now Addy's team is very cool. Another Ho-Oh team. This time it is more similar to Arubega's team. This I actually think is the only team with both Farigiraf and Grimmsnarl. So that's really interesting too. Usually you see either a Screens Miraidon team or a Farigiraf team to support it in two different ways, but I've actually chosen to use both of these, which is cool. As I said, Miraidon Vault switching into Ho-Oh to sponge the hit or Iron Hands, very solid. Ho-Oh can, I think these are just, this is my favorite restricted to pair with Ho-Oh, I think, is Miraidon. Setting up Tailwind is really good. You don't have to use Whimsicott anymore if you've got Tailwind on Ho-Oh, which is nice. And you can Earthquake beside Ho-Oh, there's a lot of synergy here. Just Ursaluna and Trick Room is probably really good for mirror matches against other Miraidons. So yeah. Look at Jonathan's team. Yeah, this is like the one we saw earlier. Terapagos Kali Shadow. There's not too much to talk about, but knockoff Ogerpon is really unique and cool. I wonder how many times this came up. Of course, this probably one-shots Calyrex Shadow. It's good against Lunala too, because not only do you break Shadow Shield and do loads of damage, but you actually knock off the Power Herb in a lot of cases, which is a very, like, useful item, because you're playing with free moves if you don't have it. Yeah. That's cool. Gee, that was the first top 8 team. Now we're getting to the top 7, and what's crazy is they all have Miraidon. So yeah, Miraidon looking like a good restricted right now. Darsh Patel, we've seen similar teams, but what's really interesting is Lead Sheet on Calyrex, and I really like this. I think this is kind of a unique way to play it. So I see Miraidon with choice specs as like a carry restricted. So in Reg G, it was the best restricted in my opinion, because it was just so good at carrying on its own. But what Calyrex Ice does for this team is it kind of acts like a win condition. So you can get rid of the threats to Miraidon. Sorry, you can get rid of the threats to Calyrex Ice with Miraidon. So say they have like Incineroar or Calyrex Shadow. If you trade off your Miraidon to beat those threats, you can actually just start setting off Leech Seeds with Calyrex and become almost unbreakable, honestly. This is also really good against Zamazenta in particular, because it only has a one-time defense boost, and if you Leech Seed it, it'll want to switch out to get rid of the Leech Seeds. So you put it like between a rock and a hard place with being seeded, so it either has to take damage every turn or you lose the boost. And yeah, this is really cool. You've got to set up Volcarona as well, Grimmsnarl with Screens, and Coaching Ursh to make it even more bulky and strong. Yeah, I really like this team. Next you've got Joey Pokémon. Now, Joey is obviously, most people know him, he's a very big singles YouTuber. Cool guy. But yeah, for his first regional, making top 8 is insane, by the way. But yeah, it just shows that like singles players really can just pick up VGC, some of the very best ones. And yeah, he did really well. His reads were really good, which I think are really big in singles. So yeah, this transferred over super well. We've got Miraidon and Hobo core we saw before. This is it's quite similar to Dill's team from EUIC, second place. So yeah, I think some builds have a lot of inspiration from Reg G, or maybe the same stuff is just still good. But anyway, what I like about this is you've got Iron Treads to beat other Miraidons, and you've got Ho-Oh to beat like Kali's Shadows, Amazenta, as I said. Yeah, this just covers a lot of teams, honestly. Iron Bundle as well for other Miraidons, just fast. This has really good coverage. You can beat Brute Bonnet and stuff. We saw him use, you could double it with Volt Switch, Freeze Dry, and get the KO on that. Yeah, really cool. It's good against Koraidon as well. This is actually legit a meta team, I think. Ho is really... It's really good. You have to get used to it. It's never been good before, but you have to get used to it now. Paul Chua. We've got Ogerpon, Calyrex Ice, and Miraidon. So, yeah, we've seen teams like this before. Not too different. Paul putting up great result though. Yeah, Morning Sun Volcarona is here to stay, I guess. I didn't realize there were this many before I started making this video. Yeah, good, solid. Carson, let's see. Yeah, so if we look back here, right, you kind of see 3 of the top 4 teams are this kind of same build with Ursaluna. It's like an Ursaluna focused mode and like a Miraidon fast mode. So yeah, Electric Seed Lunala has really proved its worth. Assaultfest Miraidon's quite common on these. You're really supporting the sweep with Ursaluna, but don't underestimate the damage, because the damage is still so good. Miraidon is just so good. And yeah, Choice Band Ursh is interesting. I imagine this just sweeps in Trick Room or under screens when it can't be killed. And yeah, Instant Parting Shot into Ursaluna gets sweeps. What I'll say about Ursaluna is I think you want to play quite aggressively switching it in, because you kind of want to get it in safely before Trick Room runs out. But what happens a lot of time is you run out of turns, so if you're playing these kinds of teams, I would recommend trying the hard switch in Ursaluna at times that opponents won't expect it. And yeah, Luca Paz, very similar but with Whimsicott instead. This has the Tailwind mode, which is really cool. And yeah, some differences, like the Incineroar has like U-turn instead of knockoff and parting shot. Sorry, it has Flare Blitz and U-turn instead of knockoff and parting shot, which is interesting. Still Assault Vest, Miraidon, Ursaluna, Seed, yeah. I think this was still a min speed Ursaluna though, but it could be fast too to abuse Tailwind. And yeah, Dylan, the last chance to defeat the Miraidon Lunala players, fortunately couldn't do it, but proving the worth of Volcarona and Calyrex Ice once again. With an Ogerpon Cornerstone this time, which is interesting. Yeah, you've got your Miraidon, Choice Scarf Miraidon again. This is proving to be quite good. Snarl for Calyrex Shadow, I like it. Yeah, what more is there to say? Just very good player. Was able to win most games. And yeah, finally Andrew Ding. Same team as Carson. Just, yeah, it was. Same team. Just, yeah, proving Ursaluna, as we saw on stream. Oh, it's so strong. Green's Grimmsnarl is very, very good as well right now. But yeah, that's the regional. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, let's look at the usage stats again. Yeah, it's interesting to see. These are the top 12 Pokemon if you're interested as well. But yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to do more of these in the future. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and follow. But yeah, until next time, thank you.